Well, here tonight to discuss the details of the deal and if it's good for America is Jessie Jane Duff. She's a senior fellow at the London Center for Policy Research and a retired gunnery sergeant for the U.S. Marine Corps. Good to have you with us in studio, Jessie.
Hi, Michelle.
All right, Jessie, if this short-term period of reduced violence lasts, then the idea is to go for a longer agreement. And the Taliban is saying that it is going to end all terrorist activities. No recruitment, no fundraising, no training, no sponsorship of terrorists that attack the U.S. and its allies. I mean, can we really trust the Taliban to do this?
The possibility of trust is probably very loose. I don't know that we can. But this 7-day period is going to see if they can even control their ranks. Their ranks have internal rivalries within Afghanistan. So we're looking at a lot of tribal differences, a lot of conflict that they're currently performing. We want to see, can they even control their own selves? And in these 7 days, that's when negotiations will even start. So and the clock hasn't even started. So we have really got to look at where we're going to be at in 7 days if they can demonstrate they have control of their own people and their own rebellious ways, because we're talking rivalries that are generations old. So that's the first step. Then after that, can we trust that they won't go back into terrorism? Probably not. But the United States military has a rapid response team that is capable of going in. Leaving our troops on the ground there is not necessarily deterring it as it is now. So we're looking at how many American lives were lost, 2,400, over 20,000 injured or wounded. Now, let's look at something that's even worse, that Afghanistan people have had just under 35,000 of their civilians who were killed, who were not even fighters, that were caught in the crossfire, caught in the various turbulence that the Taliban has caused. So we're looking at a lot of internal strife within Afghanistan for itself. It's up to the Afghanistan people to push the Taliban down, because the United States cannot continually be holding the water for the Afghan soldiers who have to learn how to sustain themselves and their freedom.
And as you quite rightly say, this is a testing period to see how much influence the Taliban leaders have over other fragments in the country, because there are a lot of parties that do not want this to succeed. Now, as you say, a lot of American lives lost in Afghanistan. In fact, it is the longest running U.S. war in history. The thinking was America takes the fight to them to keep Americans safe at home. That was the strategy. Has that worked, do you think?
I think up to this point, yes, it has worked. But I think our mission has been to a point now, well, what are we doing to sustain this? Because every time an American life is lost over there, our hearts break. I mean, in December, we lost, I believe it was a Marine Corps gunnery sergeant that was killed, and we cut off the Camp David talks. So when we're looking at American lives lost, we now have to say at what cost. We have a rapid capability of responding if necessary. If it becomes a threat to the United States, we're obviously watching them a heck of a lot closer than we were prior to 9/11. But with that, the Afghanistan government, the Afghanistan people have to be the ones to control their own destiny, because the United States at this point has to determine they're no longer a threat to our nation, our freedom, and the rest is for the Afghan people to resolve.
Well, look, according to this deal, there'll be a 4.5-month timetable to reduce the number of U.S. troops to about 8,600 from 1,200. Now, President Trump has said he doesn't want America in endless conflicts, but he also has said in the past that he doesn't want to give the enemy a timetable, that he doesn't want them to be able to know what the strategy is so they can just play nicely and wait things out. So how does he handle this?
I think he's doing it very well already. He's demonstrated that each time he's tried to step up to negotiate, the Taliban has stuck its foot in its mouth. It's essentially, like I said, in the 7 days here, we're going to see, can they even control their own leadership? Can they control, can all sides say we're not going to have conflict? Because if they can't even do that in 7 days, we know that the talks can't move forward anyway. But we do want to withdraw a lot of our forces, and the president will have to come up with a plan B at that point.
All right, Jessie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you for being with us.